right, everybody. Hi again. Good afternoon. So we are here to our third design lecture, Spring 2024. I'm very happy because today we have a very interesting guest. Today we have architect Monica Palladino. She's here with us, and she's representing a very important Italian architecture studio, Mario Cucinella. Very, very interesting. So I'm so glad she's here with us, and I hope you will like the lecture. The lecture is entitled Creativity Begins with Research. It's an interesting title for all of us. We usually start our projects with analysis, which is a way of doing research, right? So that's great. So let's read a little bit about Monica. Monica is Senior Research and Development Specialist at Mario Cucinella Architects, MCA. Monica is specialized in sustainable integrated design. Within MCA, the R&D unit adds value through an this is a difficult word for me, exploratory, and an interdisciplinary approach geared towards ensuring the environmental and socioeconomic sustainability of the project. Through a research approach, Monica supports projects at different scales, from the early stages, within the integration of parametric design and the development of environmental simulations. She carries out research projects related to the climate sphere and user comfort. For those interested in Mario Cucinella Architects, you can go on internet site, mcaarchitects.it, and you have the English version for you. All right, so long story short, it's now the moment to give the stage to Monica. Please, Monica.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Monica Palladino, and I'm an architect and an environmental design specialist within Mario Cucinella Architects. First of all, thank you, Professor Riccardo and the University of Arkansas for this invitation. For us, it's always a pleasure to share with you, with young students and also young professionals, our practice. So before go in the heart of this speech, I would like to tell you something about our approach and a little bit of history. Mario Cucinella Architects was established in Paris in 1992, and it has its own offices today in Bologna and in Milan. And since we know that architecture and also design is a very complex and multidisciplinary subject, we are not only architects, we are engineers, we are visual specialists, we are model makers, and also parametric designers. As practice, we strongly believe that architecture can play a fundamental role in influencing people's well-being. And our approach is founded on the topic of creative empathy, that is a principle coined by architect Mario Cucinella himself a lot of years ago. In fact, when we start to approach with a project, we always analyze and understanding the context in which we are designing in order to find a kind of empathy with that place, not only from an environmental point of view, but also from a social point of view, so with people. Sustainability is more than function and future. So for sure you have heard a lot about this word. Today is very, very used, but it's not only about environment, it's also about people, it's also about place in which we are gonna design. We are facing a lot of challenges nowadays in our world, and that's why we have also to face ourselves and our work with global benchmark. And in this case, we are facing with 70 SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals by United Nations. But why we are doing this? Because our sector nowadays, the construction sector, is one of the most impactful for the environment. In fact, it's responsible for more than 34% of the energy use and more than 37% of the CO2 emission. So we have a very important role as designer. In fact, if we look at this graph and think about the life of a building, we can see that in the first line, you can see 4 important phases of a building. So the material production, the construction phase, the operational phase, and the end of life. The first line represents the years of this life, and we can notice that it's true that the operational phase is the longest one. But if you look at the second one, you can notice that in terms of energy demand, the second one represents the energy demand of these phases. It's true that the operational phase is the most impactful, but also the material production and construction phase is very impactful. And it's here that our role is very important because we have the responsibility to decrease that impact. And also we are facing not only the growth of the CO2 emission, but also the growth of population. So we have a very important and strong energy demand inside our cities. All these premises lead us to, and the office Mario Cucinella, to create the Research and Development Unit. It is a unit that existed since the very beginning, and it was strongly desired by architect Mario Cucinella in order to face these challenges that we have in our time. We have a role as consultant, internal consultant of the project, and we have, let's say, 2 souls. All projects has 2 souls. From one end, we are culturally rooted, so we, in a way, study the context and also the tradition of the place. But we are always looking for new trends and innovation. So we have future-driven impact. And then we have always the rule to do environmental simulation in order to, and also social simulation in order to understand the impact of our project on the environment and on the society. So in a way, there are 2 main topics in our work. We have the research project and the project of the office. The research project are the, let's say, the intent of inform the project, and the project can inspire our work of research. And you will see through the different projects how we work on that. The first project that I want to show to you today is an office building, is the ARPA headquarters in Ferrara, and is, I think, one of the best example of MCA philosophy, MCA approach from the very beginning. It started from a very strong inspiration that coming from the very past, and is inside our approach, because this book, for example, that is a book from Mario Cucinella called The Future is a Journey to the Past, 10 Stories about Architecture. It was like a journey through worldwide to discover different spontaneous and vernacular architecture in order to understand how people during different decades and centuries answered to the different local needs and the different climate conditions. This strong inspiration for ARPA in Ferrara coming from the city of wind in Pakistan, and is not just a let's say aesthetic exercise, but it was because these chimneys were the city of wind, as you know, these chimneys as the rule of a microclimate device. And in fact, of course, in Ferrara, we are not in Pakistan, we are in Ferrara, but these two climates has in common the fact that they shift from very extreme climatic condition, from hot and humid summer to cold and damp winter. So you have to know that in a very humid condition, natural ventilation is a very effective passive strategy. This is our project. It's made by 112 chimneys that has substantially two roles. One is to mitigate the indoor comfort with natural ventilation, and the other one is to protect from the direct light inside. The project is an environmental device, it's a bioclimatic device. In fact, in summer, thanks to the opening on top, it can allows inside the fresh air and the hot air goes out, and also the presence of the vegetation in the different courtyard helps to mitigate the microclimate inside. And in winter they work these chimneys works as greenhouses, because they are able to capture the heat and then release it inside the building, in order, of course, to reduce the energy consumption for both heating and cooling. This is a view from the outdoor, and also the strict relationship between the outdoor and the indoor, and the facade that is fully glazed. It's always protected by this overhang, so in order not to avoid overheating phenomena. This is a very interesting image, I think, and I would like to show to you, because to let you understand that our approach was always the same, but tool, of course, changing during the time. This was a model to study daylight penetration inside the building, and it was very interesting to understand how it works in terms of daylighting inside. And daylight, we know, is a very important topic, especially for office building. Today we are doing this kind of analysis, of course, with the digital tools and softwares. But our tools are evolving, and I want to show to you this project that is the Unipol headquarter tower in Milano Porta Nuova. Is a very challenging project, and because it's a tower of 120 meters height, with 23 floor above ground, and it started as a competition, and this tower will be finished at the end of this year, will be closed at the end of this year. And we started so with a competition. We had a very strictly context, and very hard constraint, let's say. We decided to go for that elliptical shape because in comparison with the rectangular shape, there is a minimization of the facade, so the facade and the volume to be heat and to be cool, of course, too. And also because we wanted to create that void, and you will see also picture about that, in order to protect from the direct sun that is south facing, and to have almost of the offices on the north side, because they can enjoy on not direct light but diffuse light, and they can enjoy on the view to the park that is the Biblioteca degli Alberi Milan and the city center. Also in that case, it is a very bioclimatic device. In fact, the big atrium is let's say a device that mitigates the microclimate inside, and has the powerful of reduce also the heat and the energy demand for heating and cooling. So in summer, with also the openings on top, we have the possibility to do natural ventilation, and in winter it is closed on top, and it can store a lot of heating and release it in the different space. This is a view of a model because we have a very skilled unit of model maker inside the office. And you can see here, for example, the piazza and also the big canopy that covered this piazza. It is also important to do models because also in competition, to understand the different shape and the different sides also of the site, we do a lot of model. This is the picture during the construction phase of the 75 meter height atrium, and trust me, it's very, very impressive to stay under there. And this is the sky garden, the roof, in which there will be a greenhouse. And there are also, you can see, solar panel and some openings that are regulated according to the different season. This is the integration of the Unipol Tower in the context of Milano Porta Nuova, and also in Milan skyline today. And about all, this project was totally controlled from the very early design stages in building information modeling in BIM, in order not only to control geometries, but also to control data and information and follow all the different design stages. Now let's jump to Rome, another project that I think it's also relevant for you, because it's not only a project of an architectural project, let's say, but also an opportunity to regenerate a neighborhood. Is the project for the rectorate building of Università Roma 3, and is in the Quartiere Ostiense. The project was born with a very strong aim to open the, let's say, the university to the surrounding, and also because at MCA we believe that educational spaces are very important, because are the place in which, let's say, we call like the third educator, also place can play a very important role in the education of students. And so the aim was to have this main covered piazza with 3 elliptical towers upon this covered piazza, and this shape were strongly inspired by the gasometers in the Quartiere Ostiense, and we will see also some picture of that. This is the integration in the surrounding, so in the different in the context. And from an environmental point of view, the elliptical shape in that case allow us to minimize the east and west facade, to let's say protect from the cold winter in winter, and to allow fresh air in summer inside the building. You can also see that from this bioclimatic section that the facade is not totally attached with the line, let's say, of the building, but we create some setback in order to mitigate the heat gain and not have direct sunlight inside in summer, but in winter, yes, because we have seasonal vegetation on the facade. This is the integration in the context, and this is a technological, let's say, hub, because we also have solar energy production, and also the different shape, that the different layer of the public space. And here in the background, if you look at the background, you can see the different gasometers from which we took inspiration. That was let's say an aesthetic inspiration for our project. Here you can see also the different levels of the public space, some details of the facade, and also the public space that is all open to people that can look inside, can see, I don't know, conference, or for example, what happens inside. So our aim is also to look at the educational spaces not only as closed function, but open to the community, and other detail of these outdoor spaces. Another project that is a urban regeneration project is the Milano Innovation District project. was born in the farmer area of Milano Expo 2015, and it was a very challenging project because we had a lot of constraints. We have, first of all, some anchors, so some buildings that needs to stay there. For example, Ospedale Galeazzi, for example, also Università of Milan, and also a very infrastructural place because we are near Rofiera. We had a kind of, let's say, memory of Expo because there were some tensile structure and also two main important axes, the Decumano and the Cardo. So the concept started to design to take this inspiration and build a kind of pentagram. We call it pentagram, and to build a rhythm inside this master plan. Then we decide to link the different natural spaces with this organic path that was a kind of ribbon, and we overlap these two layers, so the most, let's say, rigid, but it's not so rigid path of the different line, and also the organic shape that link all the natural material, the natural elements. This was one of the very first sketches in which we started putting also messes, because we are working with a mixed use program, and also the one of the first, let's say, configuration of the master plan. This was the result. So the wall masses and the wall project with different functions. So we have tower of residential tower, or some more compact office building. So a lot of function inside, but I would like to show you something that you are not used to see, because behind this render there was a lot of research, and we started with a question. We started asking ourselves what is an innovation district, and we started to set a kind of strategy in order to understand in which way we can put, let's say, inside not only function, but also a place that could be attractive for people and that are gonna work inside there and also are gonna live inside there. Because innovation district are places in which companies, medical companies, technological companies, but also startups met together in order to build new neighborhood and create attractiveness for people. Of course, we needed some drivers of change, and we decided to have some sustainability pillars, let's say, that were, of course, related to resource and material, climate action, and sustainable mobility, well-being, and innovation design. And that is important also to underline that also our client wants this kind of drivers of change, let's say. And in which way we can do this? We can do this with the physical assets, so with some elements that are in common in all the innovation district, but we can let's say drive under the name of sustainability. So how we can put in practice our let's say aim. In fact, for example, from a natural point of view, you can see that we are going to create a very huge part of landscape inside with some parks, waterfront, and that was not only an aesthetic exercise, but we know that they are very, very needed for microclimatic and climate reason. And also another topic that is very important was the walkability. Mine will be a car-free district, so it was very important an operation of placemaking to understand where and which kind of activities we have to put in order to reach them in 5, 10 or 15 minutes walk. And at the end, one of the main concepts of mine is also the common ground, because in relationship with those activities I was referred to, also it's important to understand this very huge ground floor that needs to be activated, and also we have not only in the ground for the different public activities, but also in some cut of the, for example, of the tower or some buildings. So we put also the public in height. From an environmental point of view, it was very interesting because we had a previous master plan, and we challenged it in a way, because we decided to rotate totally the masses, and it was clear. So from an east and west orientation to a north-south orientation, it was fastly clear from a CFD analysis. This is a wind analysis that we are used to do when we consulting our project, that it was very useful from a permeation of the wind in the outdoor spaces, but also to foster natural ventilation inside the buildings. We did a lot of analysis, a lot of simulation also in the outdoor spaces, and we did all the simulation under a climatic scenario that is RCP 8.5 2090. That is the worst case scenario, because Mind is aimed to be a resilient neighborhood inside the city of Milan, and to face, of course, the biggest change that we will see. But Mind was the starting point also for a new research project. In fact, now I'm going to show you the last two projects, and that are research project. And if you remember at the beginning, I said that sometimes project can inform the research. And that was the case of this one-year research project of 2023, last year, and was livability of urban spaces in Mediterranean area. Because after the project of Mind, we realized that outdoor spaces are fundamental for the evolution of the cities that we live every day. So we have to give a very important attention to their design, and in order to activate and live them. So why we are working in cities? We are working in cities because, because surface temperature in cities can be up to 10 to 15 degrees more in comparison with the rural areas. It's the so-called urbanite island effect. Why we are working in Mediterranean areas? It's coming. Okay. We are working in Mediterranean areas because the Mediterranean region, from a climatic point of view, is warming faster. Is warming faster than the rest of the world, and also in this climatic configuration, this is the Köppen classification. You can see that this is the current situation, but it will change a lot, and we will live more desertic climate in our region. And then at the end, we are working with outdoor spaces because we know that after pandemic situation, after COVID-19, we needed these spaces and we need to live there. We realized that cities as they are complex system, and also this scheme is, but it was just to show the complexity of how much elements we have in our cities and in our outdoor spaces. So we started asking ourselves which are the risks that are threatening our urban living, and then which are the concepts that are related to this risk, in order to find some parameters that can, let's say, mitigate this risk. At the end, what we need is are these parameters for our research, because we decide to build a tool that can help and support the design process, especially when we have some master plan to do, or some, let's say, complex building to do, in order to understand the different design choice impact on the outdoor spaces. So you can start from the design input and understand in terms of mobility, comfort, and performance which kind of input you have. We also set 3 main categories that are environment, space, and society, that they are always, of course, intersect. They never be alone, let's say, because we know that sustainability is never something related just to environment or just to society or space. But then we related them to benchmarks, and was very, very, very important, because if you are not reaching some benchmarks, you can also go back, so in a kind of loop, because design process is a loop and is never ending, let's say, and you can go back, change your input, and then test it again. So our tool is an interconnected tool, we call it, and is a grasshopper script, is a plugin of Rhinoceros that is always speaking with different other software, for example, urban model interface, or also Envimet, and different kind of software that we use every day at work. But which kind of input do we need to use this tool? For sure, we need the density of our buildings, we need the connection, so street network, location and climate, of course, the different function, and also the green and blue infrastructure, so the natural element. We tested this tool from two sides. One in an existing cities in Milan, because we wanted also to understand the impact also of the existing cities on the outdoor spaces, and also the, let's say, power of the open source data that we have in terms of, in order to use this tool. These are some example of the output of the tool. So you can compare, for example, the perceived temperature of a typical block with the unipole area in that case, or for example, the sunlight towers, the sky view factor that represent the percentage of the sky that I can see from the ground, and this is a topic that is strictly related also to the urbanity island, and then accessibility and walkability. Then we tested also in 3 different configurations, and this is something that we do usually when we are do competition, when we have a brief. From a brief we can have an amount of a square meter to put inside an area and to design, and we can test different configuration and understand which are the different impact of the outdoor spaces thanks to this tool. We added also some level of complexity, adding also some strategies in terms of vegetation, presence of water, vegetation plus water, and green envelope. And we see different results that are the different output from the tool, not only in terms of perceived temperature, but also in terms of energy intensity, and also PV production, energy production potential, and also how much the project can mitigate and change a little bit the microclimate. So all these, let's say, tool, it's of course always changing and ongoing project, and was important because also to show the complexity of the city, and the fact that the cities are not built by just one layer, but there are a lot of layer and parameters to take into account when you are designing something. And of course, it depends also on the context in which you are. You have also to maybe prioritize a little bit your choices in order to balance, let's say, everything. It's not that easy, but at least we try. Last but not least, Tecla. Tecla is the 3D printed house by Mario Cucinella Architects and WASP. That is a 3D printing company, a leading company in Italy, and was a prototype of an house printed in raw earth. The name Tecla comes from Le città invisibili, a book of Italo Calvino, and Tecla is the city that is always under construction. And his name, it's also the anacronymous and stand for technology and clay, because Tecla, we imagine it as a link between tradition and innovation, because of it's made by local material, raw earth, and it was 3D printed. It has this circular shape, so it is made by a single cell that can change its size and can be also aggregate in different cases. Which was the purpose of this, let's say, of this work? At the beginning, the research was carried on by SOS School of Sustainability, and that is the postgraduate program by Mario Cucinella Architects, and you will see also this. And this was to respond to the housing emergency in a high vulnerability context. So, of course, the 3D printing is not the only answer that exists, but it was to start a debate about that, and also to understand which was let's say the power of this new technology. We studied the different climate, let's say, condition in order to understand also how this project can, let's say, perform in different climate conditions. So we studied the cold climate, the temperate climate, the hot and arid climate, and the hot and humid climate. Of course, as you can imagine, there were totally 4 different projects because as you remember from the book, The Future is a Journey to the Past, in every climate condition, we have to act in a different way. We know we cannot design the same exactly project in different location. So then Tekla is mostly made by envelope. It's totally made by envelope, and this is the section, let's say, of the wall, the wall that is made by 2 layers that are 2 sinusoidal curves. One is made by, characterized by parameter like thermal mass and insulation. That is the inner one, and the other one is characterized by other 2 parameters that are infill, ventilation, and shading. These 4 parameters lead us to use this always grasshopper script, and to change according to the needs of the climate the section of the wall. In fact, you can see here in the, let's say, in this 2-axis graph, the 4 different climate in which we need, for example, where we need more thermal mass, less self-shading, and other kinds of needs of the climate. At the end, it was decided to prototype one of them, and was the temperate climate one in Bologna. First of all, in order to have the final shape, the final, let's say, pattern of the facade, was done a solar radiation analysis to understand where the most, let's say, critical part to be more self-shading. And in fact, the upper part is has more self-shading in comparison with the bottom part, and also the width of the wall is changing in height. This also for structural reason, but also to use less material and lighten the structure. So the Bologna prototype is made by 2 cells that are aggregate together, and almost of the, let's say, of the project is 3D printed. So also the furniture that you see there are 3D printed, and there is a living area and a bedroom and bathroom area, and it was printed by 2 3D printer in more or less 200 hours, let's say. It, of course, it was studying also from a climatic point of view. So with the skylights on top, you can see also to the benefits of the natural ventilation, and also you can see also the different layer that I was explaining you before. And also the presence of the vegetation in the middle of the living area. There were also some tensile stress analysis during the construction phases in order to understand the most vulnerable part that were reinforced with the braces. And at the end, this toolkit that is, I think it's very important to understand the aim, no, of Tecla, because Tecla is all made on site by local materials, 3D printed raw earth, and just some pieces like windows or some furniture and sanitary, for example, are put on site with some containers. So that is the sense that, let's say, it can be very important aim of the project. Now we have the video to show. Yes. Yes. No, not now. Okay. So you can see also other picture from the outside, also the indoor. So some spaces, also furniture that were printed on site. Tecla was a project that started as a research project within the context of the postgraduate program by Mario Cucinella Architects School of Sustainability. Actually, I attended the School of Sustainability, so it's something that I remember very well. And today it's a foundation, and it has its headquarters in the office, in MCA office in Milan. And it's a future factory, let's say, and also it seems it is to reinvent the figure of the architect and designers to better, let's say, faces the challenges that we are facing nowadays. And there is a first part about foundation courses, so to, let's say, set the basis of sustainability, so about foundation of sustainability, healthy material, environmental, parametric design, and also circular economy. And then there is the huge part of this postgraduate program that is related to the project. Tecla was, for example, a project of this one of these, and for example, are about circular economy, post-carbon architecture, architecture as social business, and others. Some projects are also the right quality shelter cluster. There was this neighborhood for Roma community in Scampia that were it was also 3D printed in some part, and also it was made under the principle of self-construction adapted places. So with the principle of urban mining, so with some place taken let's say on site to build some windows or different roof and etc. And post-carbon architecture was a project very interesting about tall buildings at different latitudes, because it was here there is a video. It was a project in which they were asked to design skyscrapers, but they, of course, as you can see, change in different parts of the world as a very completely totally shape. This is the group of SOS, and so SOS, School of Sustainability, is one of the soul of Mario Cucinella Architects, as also research and development unit, and also the other units. And I hope I give you an idea of the many and multiple souls of Mario Cucinella Architect, and that you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Monica, thank you. It was great. Really, I learned so many things. I mean, I was aware of Mario Cucinella Architects. They were like, boom, architects. But wow, this was really great.
Thank you.
And I love your unit, research and development unit. It's like, it's amazing. Your unit is making the difference.
Yeah,
by working on research and testing and going for innovation, you collect so much knowledge that you can move forward.
Yeah.
And we can tell from the projects you showed us. I also have just a question for you, just my own curiosity. Then you guys, of course, take advantage of this moment to ask whatever you want. I was very impressed by the tool, Grasshopper tool, that your unit developed. How does it work, the tool? I mean, do you sell it? Or how is it possible to share?
Well, let's see. We did everything by ourselves, because Grasshopper is an open source project, and we are it is under development. So the aim, let's say, the first aim is to share within the office,
of course,
now, and also to make every time also designer more aware about this topic. And then we will see. We will see, maybe in a publication before.
Okay, because I was thinking it could be very useful for our students. Maybe we will invite you for a 1-week workshop, and we can do some things together, because it was about urban regeneration and urban thinking. We do a lot of those things. So, yeah. Sorry, I was just dreaming about it because I found it really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And you also spoke a lot about life between buildings. Which is that there's a whole theory behind that. And she spoke about livability, which is another important concept when we talk about towns and neighborhood scales. You spoke about regeneration, you spoke about Milano and Rome. Guys, you gotta go and visit the Rome project. The Rettorato di Roma 3, it's a must to do. So please, so thanks. I'm very enthusiastic.
Welcome.
Thanks a lot. All right, I was the one enthusiastic. I hope you were as well. Now we have a little bit of time because she gotta catch the train back to Bologna. She gotta go back, but I think we can spend a little bit of time asking for questions. Is there anybody curious about some things? This is always a very strange moment. But I'm here like going around and searching for volunteers.
I said a lot of things.
We have a professor. I must give you the microphone so that they can hear us on our streaming.
I'm always curious about the long-term viability of 3D printed structures, and in particular about durability. And one curiosity I have is should the buildings become damaged, how is it repaired in a way that is consistent with the rest of the building, or if there are additions made or modifications How does that
Okay.
work with the system?
Let's say that in this case, for this was a prototype that we have done, and is sent for 1 year more or less. And we are working on this topic because we are evolving this research. We have a lot of topics to cover, and also the durability is one of that. So we are also looking for a lot of also case studies, because there is a very huge knowledge behind them. So yeah, it's a very work in progress topic to discover.
Have you been to Milano, by the way, guys? No. No. You must go. I'm enthusiastic that their building will be finished by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I keep
Yes.
going to Milan and waiting for it, like, oh, please finish it. So thanks for this great news.
Okay, on that, where are the essential spots to go in Milan?
What? Sorry.
Where should we go in Milan?
Where?
Where?
Okay. You can start from Milano Porta Nuova area. That is a very new development area, but I think you must see also the historical center, no? That is, maybe you can start from the historical center and then go around for the new development of the cities. That is always under construction, like Tegla at the end.
Yeah, she spoke a lot about the skyline of Milano. Milano is probably the only Italian town which is growing up vertically. And they are contributing to the vertical development of the town. So it's very interesting. To my knowledge, there's no other situations like that in Italy. And so the very big architectural firms, they are in a way or another competing to find their own plot and create their own landmark. They're creating an amazing landmark. And Milano is, developing a lot towards that respect. So I'm very glad there will be your sign somewhere in the town, vertically speaking. All right. Anything else? Yes, let me go there. Thanks.
Hi, thank you so much for presenting. For the design of Roma Tre, I didn't see how tall it was, but knowing that it was constructed here in Rome, is there more benefit to building tall in a historic area that has like kind of a cap to building heights? Like, is there a preference for like density and verticality, or?
Okay, no, it's clear. Okay, of course it depends on context in which you are. I think that now in this very dense urban area, it always meaning, let's say, a topic of balancing, no? It's good to go in height, but you have to face a lot of with a lot of difficulty in terms of, I don't know, also in terms of wind topics, or in terms of also, for example, construction. The construction became always very difficult not to do. But from another side, you reduce the amount of land in which you are constructed, so the footprint, and also in terms of cost, they are lower from that point of view. So it depends on the context in which you are.
But you see, the word context is coming into the conversation very often. Yeah, it's probably embedded into the Italian thinking. You can understand also in our classes, we keep talking about the context. So in Milano, you can grow up pretty high because the city is offering that opportunity. There are many other tall buildings, so it makes sense. The rectorate in Rome is not that high, by the way, and it goes more or less in terms of massiveness together with the surrounding site. So the answer could also be just look at what you have around you, and then the answer will be there around. I also remember how interesting it was, the design process of the Innovation Center in Milano. You remember they started from that pentagram, that diagram. I was like, oh, that's wonderful. And it was given by the street taxis. How much are we talking about street taxis in our classes, especially mine and Andrew's class? And the whole master plan was derived out of that. And so we're not crazy professors. I mean, what we're trying to teach makes a little bit of sense, I would say. So I found that also very, very interesting. But who was the one who decided to create an innovation center? Was the municipality, or it was a proposal of your office?
No, it was from a client and municipality.
Okay,
and then
client and municipality.
We were asking to do this master plan.
Yeah, I find this great, an innovation spot. I think that every big town, like Milano, like Rome, like Turin, should have its own innovation center. It's where research, information, and the future are all embedded together. So, and what is the state development of project?
Now we are at the preliminary stage.
Preliminary stages. Okay, but it's moving on.
There are already some parts that are under construction, because that master plan is made by some pieces, let's say. So it's work in progress.
It's huge. And then
it's 1 kilometer actually.
I know, I remember. I've been
walk
walking it, and it's very long. So it's a town in itself. Yeah, that's great. And thanks for sharing with us also the SOS school. I didn't know about the acronym SOS. That's interesting. Hey, SOS sustainability. It's interesting. And I noticed that you have several tracks, and one is urban regeneration. So I'm very interested in that track. We'll talk later on. But great. And also thanks for organizing your lecture based on what our students might need. Because when we organize the lectures, we usually talk before to see what topics might be covered to offer you lectures that are useful. Otherwise, it will be just lectures about whatsoever. So she did her own best to find projects and topics that might help you. And it would be nice to see if by the end of the semester, at least a few of you could have at least one Italian president from the design lectures that we are offering. There are 4 in total, and you're exposed to tons of Italian projects. Let's see if somebody's going to take them as precedents for your projects. Okay, any other question? No? Okay. I think it is the time to close this. Monica gotta go back to her hometown. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks Monica for this great lecture. Again, I hope it was useful for you guys. We have one more to go, and it's gonna be 27th March, so in a few days, and we will have another architectural firm, very, very interesting, from Milano this time. Okay, but you will receive information. All right, thanks a lot. Bye everybody. Ciao.